So recently I put up this video on my Instagram and Facebook pages of me just practicing a walking bass line. And a lot of people seem to be really interested and were actually interested in learning how to make up these lines themselves. So because of that, I thought I'd make a quick little tutorial video just showing how I go about making up these lines. Now, I don't really consider myself an exclusive jazz guitarist, but I still enjoy listening to the genre and studying it and practicing it just to improve my improvising and my overall playing. All right, so first of all, we need some chords. So I'm just going to play a 3-6-2-5-1 progression in C major because that's a really common movement in jazz. So what that is E minor 7 to, I'm going to play the secondary dominant of D, so that would be A7, and then D minor 7 to the 5 chord G7, and then C major. So let's say that we have a harmonic movement of half notes. So that means I would be playing it like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. So the thing that makes a walking bass line is that you play a note for every quarter note. And in this case, if we're playing a chord for every half note, there's already a bass note for each chord. So we already have a bass note for every first and third beats, so now we only need a bass note for every second and fourth beat. So in this case where we only have one note to add in between each chord, I like to just add a note above or below the bass note of the next chord. So for example, we start on the E minor 7, and then we go to A7, so usually you would play either or, and then the next chord is D minor 7, so after that you can maybe add a note above or below that to lead into that note. So like, or you can go. And then from there you're just moving up a fourth again, so you just move from the D to the G note. And then you could do the same thing going to C. So altogether you get this. So maybe if you're still not used to that technique, you could turn that into an exercise. You can maybe start on way up here, like on the A minor 7, and then just play minor 7 to dominant 7 to minor 7 to dominant 7. So like. Now, of course, that's not really musical, but that's just to get you used to the feeling of playing chords and bass notes. Now let's say instead of a harmonic rhythm of half notes, we have a harmonic rhythm of whole notes. So now it'll be something like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. So now we have a bass note for every first beat. Now we need the bass note for every second, third, and fourth beat. So now having 3 notes between every chord gives us a lot more possibilities and a lot different things you can do. So pretty much what I did is I just messed around with this chord progression and just made up multiple different things that I can do over that lead into every chord. So for example, one thing I can do is to go into the A, and all I did was I started on E, and I went to the 5th of E minor 7, which is B, and then from there I kind of encircled this A note where I started a half step above, and I went a half step below, and then I played the A. So you get. And then another thing you can do is maybe just do a chromatic walk up to the next note. So if we go on this A, you could start on this B note, and then just go half step up until you get to D. So it sounds something like. And then from here, we're on this D note. Maybe you can go down to the flat 7, and then play this A, and maybe just chromatically walk down to the G note. So. And another thing you could do is just follow the arpeggio of the chord you're playing. So in this case, we're playing G7, so you just play. So the end of this little line that we created sounds something like this. And that's pretty much all I did to get used to this concept is I just took this chord progression, or I took actual jazz standards and the chords from there and just made up my own bass lines over them. There's not really any crazy music theory going on in my head when I'm coming up with these. I'm pretty much just filling in the gaps where however I see them. So yeah, that's pretty much all there is to it. And of course, the more you do it, the more lines you'll come up with, and the easier it'll be to come up with other lines over different chord progressions. And if you're looking for other chord progressions, you can maybe look up real book standards online, and they'll usually have PDFs that look something like this. And even if you can't read music, they have all the chords just written above where the notes are, so that'll give you tons of chord progressions to work over. So yeah, that's all I have time for today, and since we're on the topic of jazz, I will leave you on this note.